for instance, Iron Maiden is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they can sell out stadiums, and Grandmaster Flash is.
Right.
Ice Cube and I had a back and forth, and he's a bright guy, and I respect what he's done. It's not my music. I don't come from the ghetto. It doesn't speak my language. And I said in print many times, hip hop does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, nor does opera, symphony orchestras. How come the New York Philharmonic doesn't get the rock and roll? Because it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But he shot back and said, no, it's the spirit of rock. Okay, fine. So Ice Cube and Grandmaster Flash and all these guys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I just want to know when Led Zeppelin's going to be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
Oh, you can't do that. Oh, really?
All right. I know this is an old story by social media standards, but I still have something to say about this. So a while back, Gene Simmons of Kiss, he had something to say about hip hop being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, before I get into that, I'm a Gen Xer, by the way. I came up with metalheads, and I remember back in the days, you know, with that circle and everything, and especially people that played instruments and whatnot and did rock, and not only did rock but did other musical genres. There was a consensus that hip hop was a fad and whatnot, and that hip hop wasn't gonna last. It was just gonna be here one day and be gone the next. Now 40, 50 something odd years later, it's still here. And you may still have some of those sentiments along with it. And one of those is Gene Simmons. And when he said what he said, it kind of looked like there was some prejudicial overtones with it. Well, hip hop shouldn't be here. Like, the music should be segregated and everything. And hip hop is just as part of rock as anything, because if you was to go back and look at the music, it did incorporate some rock um, instrumentals into it, samples, as well as the attitude and the overall demeanor. And I mean, it was evident with groups like Run DMC or even in LL and the Beastie Boys in Public Enemy. But you have a Gene Simmons who's in his old man bag saying, well, this shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not surprised by him. I mean, I remember when he was on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher when it was on ABC, and he was sitting right next to Suge. I mean, he was sitting right across from Suge Knight, and Christopher Kid Reed was on there, and Bill Maher, and I forgot some black female executive of some record company was on there as well. And they had a little conversation about hip hop. And it's funny, Gene Simmons didn't feel that way then, but now he feels that way. Now he has something to say. And apparently he has a lot more to say, because he feels that, well, celebrities shouldn't be involved in politics. Correction. Celebrities shouldn't be involved or saying politics unless it's something that you agree with. And notice that it's the people that align with a certain individual that's currently in the White House saying that. If you was to put the puzzle pieces together, you'll see why they're saying what they're saying. It's like, well, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then you shouldn't be involved or saying this. It doesn't work that way, Gene. The First Amendment doesn't work that way. It's not about whether we should be aligned with your thoughts. The free speech is free because it it serves the opinions of people that we don't agree with, not just people that we agree with. And you know, granted, the First Amendment doesn't cover everything. It doesn't cover commercials. It doesn't cover shouting fire in a crowded theater and whatnot. But come on now, Gene. We understand what you're saying. Now, I purposely held back from giving an opinion on this because I want to see what the other hip hop content creators were going to say. And so far, only one had something to say about it, and that was Soren Baker from Unique Access, I think the name of his channel is. He's the one that had something to say about it. Everybody else, they were quiet like church mice. They only went and talked about other black celebrities and related news. They're not going to talk about the white man or Gene Simmons for whatever reason. Me, I came up in a mixed environment. I came up around all these people. So I grew up with people that were like or were on the opinion left spectrum of a Gene Simmons. So that is nothing to me. I pretty much know how they think and how they move and whatnot. And those types will really say, well, you know something, it isn't a racial issue because I have a black best friend or one of my relatives has a biracial kid. I have a biracial cousin, or I have a mixed nephew or niece. I came up with people like that, so it's no big deal for me to say this or talk about them. But black content creators that do hip hop, you won't get them to talk about it. I only seen Soren Baker say something about it, and he's white. But yeah, I mean, but I had to, say something and come out on Gene Simmons right quick because, his opinion was just sus to me and it needed to be dissected and need to be addressed. So there are my thoughts on Gene Simmons and whether hip hop should be inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Personally, I think it does need to be inducted. And Gene Simmons needs to take his beef up with the people that are responsible for inducting music into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame instead of, just hip hop in particular, because hip hop folks, we have no say whether something gets in or not. That's for the people that run the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're taking it up with the wrong folks. That's like me going after poor folks for like, poverty issues and whatnot when I should go after the root cause of that poverty. Folks, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comment box. This is Iron Will Media.